The number one question that I get is, how do I land a cloud job with no experience? And today I'm going to show you steps so you can do exactly that. For those who don't know me, my name is Broadus Palmer. I am cloud career coach and founder of Level Up in Tech, where we help mid-career professionals land cloud engineer roles by learning and gaining experience in solving problems as a cloud engineer. And this is the number one topic that I get when we talk about, hey, how do I do this? How do I land a cloud job with no experience? Now, results may vary. Your journey is not the same as anyone else's journey, okay? And the results may be so totally different, and I'll explain to you why. And you may ask 1,000 different people, and you may get 1,000 different answers on this topic. But I'm going to share with you my 8 years of experience and what I would do and how we help people do this as well, okay? So, first of all, when you make the decision to jump into this industry, we always have to start with the mindset. We always have to start here, because some of you want to jump into this industry, but we haven't fully even believed that we can actually do it. So we say to ourselves, oh, I want to do this. I have no experience, but I'm going to try to make this type of money. But subconsciously, you say to yourself, there's no way I can do that. I have no experience. These job descriptions are asking for 3 to 5 years or 2 to 3 years or 1 or 2 years of experience. I have none of that. So all it takes for you is to hit a roadblock, a simple roadblock, and a roadblock that you're going to hit very soon as you start, and then you quit. So the first thing we got to do is get our mind right and understand that, and I start with this all the time, that there's no bubble around anyone in the industry that says you can't do what they can do. And you have to understand this well. And I'm going to give you this. If no one else has ever told you this, that your exposure equals experience. Anything that you get exposed to, learning-wise, solving problems, is your experience. Okay? So how do we start though, right? It's like, what are the things that we need to start with? So I'll give you a little story real quick before we even talk about that. When I was getting into the industry, this was 2017, everyone told me just get certifications, right? Hey, get your certifications, man. Get your certs, you'll get a job. So what I did was I got all 3 AWS associate level certifications. And what I started to do, which was huge, it had a huge impact on me landing a role, which I'll talk to you about in a few, was I started to share my story on LinkedIn. Now, when we talk about stories and we talk about you are unique, you are creative, you are one of one, I want y'all to just put in the comments, like, where you from? Just let me know where you from. I want to see where everyone is from around the world, around the country, etc. But I went and got 3 certifications in about 100 days, 110 days. And I started getting callbacks. Like, whoa, started getting callbacks. And companies wanted to interview me because it was like, wow, you don't have any formal education, you don't have a college degree, and here you are with 3 AWS certifications, and we just astonished. We want to know you. We want to get to know who you are. I get into interviews, and guess what? I know jack shit about what they talk about. They talk about the fundamentals, the foundations of tech, IT, right? And I have no idea. They talking about Linux. They talking about ports. They talking about networking. I have no idea. And that's when I totally realized that the certifications did me more harm than good, because it made me a shiny object and I couldn't pull through because I didn't have the experience. So the first thing you should do is really just get to understand, like, what is cloud computing? How does this thing help organizations around the world? Why do companies use it? That's the first thing. Just, hey, what is this thing? Because If you don't know, like, think about this right now that in my inbox, and I connect with all the time, and they have certifications, whether AWS, GCP, Azure, Oracle, whatever, right? Even people from China at one point I used to converse with, they had Alibaba cloud certifications, but they could not explain to you what cloud computing was. Think about that. Just from the basics, they could not explain to you what cloud computing was. So the fundamentals of what is cloud, how do organizations use this, and how does it impact businesses around the world is the first thing you should learn. Okay? Now, here's some fundamentals that should never go to waste. All right? You should always do these fundamentals. It doesn't matter how long you've been in the industry or how long you've been studying. You should always go back to these fundamentals at least once a month and brush up on them. And I promise you, if you continue to do that, you will continue to find things that you never learned in the first place. Like, oh my God, I didn't see this the last 4 times I watched this or I tried this. So now, number one, understand what a network is, right? Networking. You don't have to be a expert in this. What we're doing is just digesting what the fundamentals are. What is networking? How does a network work, right? What type of services are in a network? How does data flow through a network? Okay. Number 2, you should understand some type of server administration, right? Whether it's Windows, if you're in a Windows shop, or whether you're in a Linux shop. And remember, get out of your head right now that you have to become an expert in these things, because the experience becomes more and more and more. You get exposed to it more and more and more with better experience the more you do it. And these are things that we're going to rep. We're going to rep and rep and rep and rep. Okay. So understand Linux, understand Bash, or, understand PowerShell for Windows, etc. Okay. Security, just understand fundamental security protocols, because security is the first thing that we should always think about. So these fundamentals here are really just going to help you understand how tech IT really works and how cloud computing really works. Okay, solid fundamentals that you need. This is not learn once and move forward, right? This is continue to learn, continue to demonstrate that you have the foundations, because the strong foundations that you can build here, this can get you a job anywhere, right? So what people do is they just learn, oh, let me take 3 weeks to learn a network plus exam. Let me do a security plus. Let me learn some basic basic commands in Linux. And they just say, okay, I'm going to build on top of that. I forget all about that. I'm just going to start learning other new tools. And we forget about the fundamentals, because those strong building blocks of tech is going to help you adopt other systems and other tooling. Okay. So here's the thing. Yes, network plus certs, they're not useless, right? Security plus certs, they're not useless. You can definitely take a certification course to understand the fundamentals of these things, right? So I want you to understand that we're not saying here that certifications are useless. Certifications build momentum, and certifications can give you confidence. And if that's what you need to do to be able to maintain and retain the fundamentals of tech and IT, then go ahead and do it, because it can only help you, right? Where you got a network plus cert, a security plus cert, even a Linux essential cert, right? So you got LPI, who you could do the LPIC, Linux essentials. You got Red Hat, where you could do the Red Hat system admin. So all of these certs are okay for you, right? But what I don't want you to think is you need the certs to be able to get into a job, because I thought the same thing. I thought that 3 associate level certs would just get me a job flat out. And there were a lot of fundamental things that I did not know in 2017. And I had to go back to the drawing board. You know what I'm saying? So somebody said, could you realistically go from 0 to cloud practitioner entry level in 12 months or less? Yes. So it's all about really what problems you solve, and we'll get to that in a few minutes. So, and I would just piggyback off of that, the right problems that you need to solve. Okay, so people make a mistake of they do basic projects, right? So let's say you do 5 fundamental projects, foundational level. What happens is you go and apply to all these cloud roles. And these foundational projects don't have anything to do with what these companies want you to solve problems with, right? So what we try to do is push our foundations onto a company who says we need a little bit more and we need to be a little more specific as well. And we think that's just enough that we have to do. So you can definitely do this in 12 months. You just need to be specific and focus on a certain role and look at these roles to see what they're asking for you to have. Okay. So as we take the time to really get the prerequisite, which are the fundamentals down, right? Networking, security, server administration, etc. We can go into a foundational level certain cloud, right? So this is really can get you the baseline of understanding a ton of services that you can use in AWS, Azure, or GCP. So the foundational certifications you can go to is the AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner, the the Azure AZ 900, which is a foundational certification, and the GCP Digital Cloud Leader or Cloud Digital Leader, which one is one of those things. But you got to understand these certifications are non-technical IT certifications. So while in some courses you may do some labs to understand the basics of what these vendors are teaching you about their services, this doesn't make you a technical person. These certs are typically for people that are in sales or in the sales cycle somewhere where an organization is qualifying a customer, right? And they have a broad understanding and a keyword association with these services, right? So if you're passing a certain AWS and they say, oh, threat detection, right? That's a keyword. You could automatically associate it with like guard duty or something, right? They say microservices, you could automatically associate it with like, okay, lambdas or, EKS, etc., right? So one foundational level cert, we're not going for, let me get on a path to go CCP, then I want to do solutions architect, then I want to do pro. If you want to do that, that is totally fine, right? However, right now, at this moment, you just need a foundational cert to get the baseline understanding of what that vendor is and what services they offer. Okay. Let's see what we got here. What are some cloud jobs websites that I could apply to? And we'll get to that as well. But I'm just giving you a little rope. So Indeed, LinkedIn is huge, right? Dice, Glassdoor, Teal. It's a new one that just came out. It's called Welcome to the Jungle. Yeah, that's one that really you can specify the roles you're looking at, and it would just literally email you the roles as startups and small organizations come about. Maybe a company got Series A funding or their first initial investment, and now they have a ramp way to have a 12-month ramp way to create a product and get a product out there for go to market. Now they're looking for engineers. That's something Welcome to the Jungle is a great platform to get in with new companies that are looking for engineers like you. And a startup is a great way to really get your hands dirty and to work with the team, because in a startup, it's all hands on deck. Right. And it's an easy way to grow fast too. So as the company grows and as you grow and as you get more hands on with a lot of things, you could become trusted and you could move up the ladder quickly. And as you get that title, right, and as the company gets invested into more, go to different seed rounds or get acquired by a venture capital company, then your organization becomes bigger and your responsibility becomes bigger. And if anything, if you had to move out of that organization, that title goes with you. And now you can look at that same title at a bigger organization and get more money as well. It would be more bureaucracy, right? Where this organization is more structured, it's a lot less creative, a lot less hands-on everything, and you become more siloed in your department. So it's a lot less fun than a startup. But nevertheless, this is a way where you can gain experience and gain a great title and move forward and make some great money as well. Okay. So AZ900, AWS CCP, or Cloud Digital Leader is three great foundational level certs. Once you get your foundational level cert, now it's time to get exposure to solving problems. Because while you're working on the cert, you've done labs, right? We've done labs. We've did a little basic, okay, I just launched my first EC2 instance, or I launched my first virtual machine, or I launched my first Google Cloud Compute Engine, right? Or I just created a static website in S3, or a static site in blob storage, or static site in cloud storage if you use GCP. These are foundational level projects or tutorials that get you to understand how object storage works or how virtual machine work in cloud. Okay. Now, here comes the fun part. You should have an understanding of what you want to do in the cloud, right? Even if you have a thought process in your head, what if I don't like it? Listen, if it's not the thing, it's the thing that's going to lead you to the thing. Understand what I'm telling you, okay? And even if it's not the thing and you have to pivot, everything that you learn is not lost. Understand? Everything that you learn about cloud computing, if you go into a system admin role or whatever the case may be, it is not lost. So it's not like you're going to spend 3 months here and learn things and then figure that you don't like it and then you have to start from scratch. Tech is tech. And when you're talking about the foundations of tech and IT, that's everywhere. It doesn't matter what department, what industry, what role, you're using the foundations of tech. Okay, so understand that. But here comes the fun part. Once you understand the type of role that you want, and if you don't know the type of role that you want, I want you to go to cloudcareerquiz.com. I just put that in the chat, and I want you to, somebody said no audio. Hey, give me thumbs up if y'all can see and hear me. I just want to make sure y'all can hear me great, because I just want to make sure y'all don't miss this value. So I'm going to get a sip of water. Okay, cool. All right, cool. So if you don't know, all right, let's do this. We're going to go to cloudcareerquiz.com. And this is where you can focus on answering questions that we've created that shows what you like to do. And from what you like to do, it gives you the cloud role that you would crush it in. Okay, so if you haven't yet really focused on like, what do I really want to do? Take that quiz. That could help you. That's a valuable asset that can give you an idea of what you be good at. Okay. So I'm gonna leave it up for like 5 more seconds and then we just take it down real quick. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's hide this. All right. So now we know what we want to do. Here's the most important part. This is the game. Everyone asks for like, what's the roadmap? What's the roadmap? I need a roadmap. There's no one roadmap that'll lead you into a cloud role. But let me tell you exactly what you should do that can increase your chances, even if you come from no tech background and have no experience. You're going to look up 5 to 10 roles on LinkedIn. You can use Indeed. You can use Glassdoor. You can use Dice.com. You can use Welcome to the Jungle. You can use Teal. You can use ZipRecruiter, whatever you want to use. Look at these 5 to 10 roles that are in line with the role that you want and find 60% common skills out of all those roles that they want you to have. That is your roadmap to learn. Because what you're going to do now is take those skills and those 5 companies or even 10, I'll just say narrow it down to 5 so you don't get overwhelmed. You can say, how does this company solve problems? What do they do? Research the company. Like, oh, what does Capital One do? Okay, I know it's a bank, but really, like, what do they do? Oh, what does this company do? What does that company do? How would this company solve problems? And guess what you can do? I'm gonna give you a secret. You can use Claude, you can use ChatGPT, you can use Gemini, and you can say, here is a company that I want to work for. Here is the job description of this role that I would like. Give me 5, 10, 20 projects that realistically solve problems in this role. And it will spit out, and you can do it step by step so you can have a great tutorial of learning how to solve problems. And once you get that foundation of like, oh, I just did 5 projects for Capital One, you can even, here's another thing. You can even, a lot of these companies have public repos, not of their private tech stack, right? But they have public repos of some of the open source tools that they use in their organization. You can go and type in Capital One GitHub. You can type in Netflix GitHub. You can type in Nike GitHub, and you will find public open source tools that they use within their company, and find the ones that match the job descriptions. If they're talking about certain tools, try to find them in your GitHub, in their GitHub account. Now, here is a thing that no one is going to tell you. And this is where you expedite your workflow. And this is where you start learning things that you did not know you can learn. You would use AI. You're already using large language models like Anthropic, OpenAI, Grok, etc. Right? But here's the thing: when you get into those repos, GitHub repos, you can use what is called GitHub Copilot. And what GitHub Copilot does is build agents that allows you to take their entire code base of that repository. So the repository is just let's just say a place where they park the code that they work on for that particular service that anyone on the internet, since it's open source, can look at, take a copy of that, work on it on their own, and try to push it back to that repo and merge the code together and say, hey, I've added my own creativity or my own code or my own solution to an already existing code base. Okay. So what you're going to do is use GitHub Copilot. You can use GitHub Copilot to take this code base in this repository, regardless if you understand it or not. It can be in Python, JS, it could be in C#, it could be in whatever, and you don't know. GitHub Copilot will read every single file and tell you and give you a entire breakdown of that code base of what every single file does. Not only that, you can create an agent that you say, hey, if you have an idea, well, what if I did this and what if I did that and added it to the code to make it work? And this is the things that I'm thinking. I want to make, if it's, let's say it's Terraform, and if you're not familiar with Terraform, it's just a infrastructure as code where we build repeatable infrastructure through templates and code. You say, I want to take Terraform and I know they have 2 servers that are deployed. I want to deploy 4 servers, but I want to deploy them in another availability zone. And I want a load balancer to be able to send traffic evenly between all of them. Guess what? You don't even have to code it. All you have to do is prompt it in GitHub Copilot, and it would create an agent that would go ahead and do the work for you. And it would even create some commands in your own local environment and your command line interface that can deploy some of these files as well. So now you've used AI, GitHub Copilot, to oversee a project that could take somebody normally a half a day if they're just learning, and you can do this within an hour. Not only now have you learned the entire code base and understand what that service in Netflix does, you understand how Netflix deploys to their standards, and you added your own solution or your own creativity to see if it works. So if it did work, now you could create an agent to document the entire thing of what you've done to add to the README file and push it back into your own repo because you cloned it, or you can do a pull request and push it back to their repo, and they can, overlook it and commit it and approve it. So this is super amazing because you're using tools that companies want you to use right now. Think about this. Hold on. Think about if you wanted to work at Netflix, and let's say the next 6 months you just do Netflix projects and you use GitHub Copilot to learn everything about their code base, and you're solving the exact problems that they're solving on a minor level, right? Because they're major, but you're solving the minor problems that mimic what they solve on a major level. And you're building these projects and you're building them, so you're building a process how you solve problems as well, right? Because you and you know how you solve problems. So now you integrate this process into you solving these problems and doing these projects, and you rep it and you rep it and you rep it over and over again. And you got 20 projects. Let's just say 20 projects in 6 months, right? 7 months, whatever. Now we've done that, right? We have this portfolio because I just gave you the key. The job descriptions are the roadmap, right? You can pull these projects from GitHub, any type of projects, or you can use ChatGPT, Claude, Grok to create these type of projects and do them and document them. How would you document them, broadest? Well, this is what I would do. We got a thing what we call SOART. SOART is how we document processes in projects. So scenario, obstacle, action, result, troubleshoot. When you read or when you document your projects, it needs to read just like that, because you have to understand you're teaching someone that comes in and look at your projects. Even if you think this person is a lead or manager, etc., they may not have worked on what you've worked on. So when you document your projects, where do I put them? First of all, you can use Medium. You can build your own static website and host it on object storage like AWS or GCP or Azure. Okay. You can document your stuff in GitHub as well. And GitHub has Git docs as well. So it's pure documentation that are attached to your code base in GitHub. As they look through this stuff, you're teaching them. You have to tell a story. You can't tell it like 1, 2, 3, done. I've been in the industry for a while, and for those who've been in the industry for a while, they know it doesn't work that way. So we have to tell the story. What's the scenario? Like, why would we be doing what we're doing? Right? What's the problem? Like, why would a company deploy a static website in S3? Why would they do that? Because a lot of us doing foundational level projects and we don't even know why a company would do it. Once you understand why a company would do that, then you can start getting curious about how you can help them do it better. Let me rewind that. Bloop. Once you understand why a company would deploy this or host this or etc., use this tool over that tool, etc., then you can start understanding how you can help the company do it better. Okay, so if we're documenting the scenario, now here's the obstacles. What are the obstacles that this company is facing that we need to complete this? The actions. Well, that's the actions that you've taken to complete the solution. The results. Well, what was the results? After you did all of this, what was the results? And what's the outcome and impact to the company that you're doing this for? Every time we do a project, we have to imagine that we're working for a company, not that we're doing a project for ourselves. Like I'm just sitting here doing a project. No, that's that exposure. That's how you're going to equal that experience. That's the difference between a project and a solution. A project is just me doing this. I don't know why I'm doing it, but I'm just doing it so I can learn how to do it. No, that's just practice. When you do your project, it needs to be the solution, right? The results, the outcome. You see what I'm saying? So how are auto scaling projects and migrations? Absolutely. I mean, you know how many companies trying to migrate to the cloud still? You know how many companies are looking for scalability, elasticity, fault tolerance? This is systems design, right? When you think about deploying something, or when you think about helping a company out with a solution, they're trying to migrate, they got applications they need to migrate, data, then we have to think about those things as well. That's before we even build things. So if you could start thinking about, well, if we do this, we need to, what happens if we have, I know they're getting an average of 1 million users now, but what happens if they just blow up and we get 100 million users? Like, you have to architect this thing so you can break it before someone else break it. That's exactly what chaos engineering is, and that's exactly what Netflix does, right? They break their products or their services before anyone breaks them. You have to think that way. So one-stop shop, great question. So here's the thing. After results on your documentation, here comes the T. Remember I said SOART. The T is troubleshooting, because I know it didn't work 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I know you had some errors. I know you had some failures. That is the meat and potatoes, because I want to see how you think. So tell me the errors that you found or received. Tell me what didn't work, and tell me how you got around that to develop the solution that you have now. Tell me. Once you tell me, that is your story. So if you get into an interview and they say, hey, tell me about, your experience using content delivery networks or blah, 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 right? If you have 5 or 6 projects building solutions for that, you just pick one project and tell the story. All right. So every project that you have should have documentation, because the person the person that's maybe hiring you could be learning from you as well. So when you get into the interview, the questions are no longer pressing you, technical questions. Now it becomes a conversation about your projects or your solutions that you build. Are y'all getting, I want to make sure y'all getting value out of this. Give me thumbs up or put LU in the chat. Like, I just want to make sure I'm giving y'all value. Is this making sense? Is this clicking for y'all? Please let me know. I'll wait because I just want to make sure before I move forward that I'm making sense for y'all. I want to make sure now. You know what I mean? I want to make sure the boy giving y'all something that y'all can take home now. This is something you can take home to mama. She be proud. Okay. So now we build our process, we build our projects, right? Whether it's 8, whether it's 10, whether it's 20. There's no magic number to this, right? What the magic is to this is understanding this. Okay? You are not an employee looking for a job. I say this all the time. And if y'all follow me, tell me what you are. I want to see if somebody knows this. You're not an employee looking for a job. What are you? Can somebody tell me this before I spill the beans? What are you? If you're not an employee looking for a job, what are you? Tell me. Tell me what it is. A business filling a need. Absolutely. You are a business looking to build your services to land the best client. So now, okay, brothers, if I'm a business, what are some of the small businesses, what they do? What do they do, brothers? Well, I'm going to tell you what they do. A lot of businesses spend all their money on building a product or service, and they don't spend a dollar on marketing. So as a business, after you've done building your services and your product, you and your skills, you have to ask yourself, how can I let everyone know that I can solve this type of problem? That's where you take your projects that you've done and you tell stories about it on LinkedIn. Not check out my project as I just did this. No, I want to hear the story. Like, why are you doing this project? What problem are you solving? Remember the SOART? Here's the problem that I'm solving, the obstacles that I, were facing because this company was blah, 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 and they needed blah, blah, blah. Here's the actions. Here's the results where I saved them, 30%, in cost, or I saved them from going from 12 instances, we got it down to 8, serving the same type of traffic using optimized size instances, whatever the case may be. But also check out my project to see some of the troubleshooting methods I use to continue to build the solution for the customer. You start doing that, right? And here's the trick. I'm gonna give y'all so much game today. I just feel like giving game. I just feel like giving game. You know what I'm saying? This is the game. Once you start posting projects, if there is a company you want to work for, if there are people that you're following that's like, yo, I want to work for that company with that person, or I would like to be like that person. That's what you're going to do every now and then. Tag them in your post. Hey, John. Hey, Susie. Hey, Nick. Hey, listen, if y'all have 5 minutes to check this out, I would love to get some of your feedback on, some things I could probably do better or some things I may be doing wrong. Now, some people may not respond because they just may not respond. They may not have time. They may not be on LinkedIn, etc. Right? But guess what? If they do, and they inbox you and give you some feedback, now that becomes what we call client nurturing. All right. What do we mean client nurturing? Well, you got a warm contact that was able to get involved and integrate into your product, which is your project, right? So now we just nurture them along the way. So let's say every project we do, or maybe every other project we do, We reach out to them. Hey, Susie. Hey, listen, I really appreciate your feedback on the last project I did. Hey, I just dropped another project where I actually took some of the things you told me and I did this and that and the other. Listen, once again, if you have 5 minutes to check it out, check it out. And please give me some feedback, what I've done and if it's improved, etc. Guess what they're going to do? Tell me what they're going to do. What they going to do? They are going to go into your inbox, look at your project. They already gave you feedback on the last one. And they might say, oh my God, oh, hey, such and such, I like what you're doing here. Yeah, you definitely listen. Now they think, oh, David or One Stop Shop is following my instructions and they learning quickly. They implementing quickly. They are coachable. Remember what I used to talk about with being coachable. If you haven't heard me say that yet, being coachable is following the teachability index. Number one, you have to have a willingness to learn, and number two, you have to have a willingness to change and implement. Where they see that you have a willingness to learn because you're doing the projects, but when you take advice and implement it, they see you have a willingness to change and implement. That's being coachable. Now, guess what? Now you can start, hey, look, I would love to, if you have 5 minutes or 10 minutes, I would love to have a virtual coffee with you. I would like to see, like, how did you come work at XYZ company that you're working at? And like, what's the day-to-day look like in the cloud engineer role there? And like, what's keeping you there? Like what the culture looks like. Yeah, Nick, yeah. Or yeah, whatever your name is, insert name here. Yeah. Listen, here's my calendar. Pick some time. Pick a time that works for you. And guess what? You pick a time. And guess what? You have a conversation. And guess what? Now you build the relationship. You build the relationship. This is just one way to continue to get into the industry without experience. It's about not who you know, it's about who knows you. So now you have this relationship, and guess what's going to happen if this individual sees a role that's open at their company? Tell me what's going to happen, y'all. Tell me what's going to happen. I want to see, like, if y'all following me, what's going to happen? If that person has a role open in their company and you've built this relationship and they see that you're coachable, they see that you constantly pumping out content that solves their problems, what do you think will happen? Tell me. I want to see. Tell me. They'll refer you. They'll refer you for the role. Or let's rewind this, right? Let's say you're looking at a role at the company already, right? And you got them on a call, right? And you're talking to them. And you're talking to them about the day-to-day and everything. Here's the thing that you can ask them. Nick, listen, I think I really want to work for XYZ company that is open up. Oh, what role is that, brothers? Hey, this is a role right here. Check it out. Oh, yeah, I see it internally. Hey, listen, would it make sense for you to get the referral if I'd apply? What you think they're going to say? I want to see if y'all following. What you think they're going to say? If you said, would it make sense for you to get the referral if I apply to this role? What you think they're going to say? Tell me. Let me know. Show me. I want to see who listening. What you think they're going to say? Come on with it. I'm going to tell you what they're going to say. They're going to say, absolutely it makes sense for me to get the referral because they get paid. So if they know you're doing the work, they vouching for you, they see that you're extremely coachable, why would they not get the referral? Think about this. Why would they not get the referral? And referrals take precedence over everything. Don't matter how many people apply to this role through LinkedIn. When you got a referral, that goes straight to the recruiter. Straight. You might get a call back that next day. You might get an email in an hour. That's just how it works, right? That's one way for you to get a role without a tech background or experience. That's one way that you can start solving problems and show that you're a person to solve problems. All you have to do, listen, the tech can be learned, right? And a lot of companies they not, I mean, if they're looking for a principal architect or, a lead engineer or a senior level engineer, they're going to say it, right? But when it comes to junior level, or maybe not junior level anymore because the grunt work is going away, but like associate level, they understand that as long as you come with the knack to learn how to solve problems, and as long as you're extremely coachable, and as long as you have shown how you can help them solve problems, like the basic projects that you're doing are not showing them how you can solve problems. It's showing them that you can learn and follow tutorials. I don't care, right? Like, for instance, and I always use this analogy, right? If I want my grass cut, right? And I want my grass cut, my lawn care guy cuts those lines in my grass. Y'all know what they are. When you ride past the lawn, you got the lines. You're like, oh, that grass look nice. If I want my grass cut like that, and I want it cut a certain inch, like 3 3/4 inches or whatever the case may be, you might be able to show me that you cut grass, but I don't really like, if I don't see my specific need, I don't care. You see what I'm saying? Like, I can have 10 lawn care companies come by and give me pictures of them cutting grass. And the lawns might look nice and green, but I'm like, I'm not looking for that. I'm not looking for that. I'm looking to see, can you solve my specific problem? That is exactly what you need to do. You have the tools. ChatGPT, I gave you the tools. GitHub Copilot, I told you exactly what it does. All you have to do now is implement. And the thing that's going to stop most of you, don't take offense, is you feel like, well, I don't know, man. I want to be comfortable when I learn. Well, go ahead and be comfortable and stay comfortable in your job that you're in now, because you ain't gonna get another job. Hey, who you trying to be is who you not, and the only way to be that is to become that and think that way and develop those habits. Understand? Do I make sense when I'm saying who you trying to be or become? You're not that person yet. And the only way to become that person is to be, do, and have. Become the person that does the thing to have what you want. And a lot of you won't do it because it's going to make you feel uncomfortable. And a lot of you are going to have to understand that that comfort that you're sitting in right now, it can cost you $50,000 or even more. It costs you $50,000 because you want to be comfortable. I just gave you an entire path, one path. It's many ways. I gave you the game on how to take yourself from no experience to landing a role in less than an hour. All you have to do now is implement. Raise your hand. How many of y'all gonna implement this plan starting tonight or tomorrow? Raise your hand. I want to see. Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Who gonna implement? Who gonna implement? Yeah, within a day you gonna start. What you mean? See, right there, within a day? Yeah. Didn't you say you want this? Or you need a week to start? You need a week to get your mind together? You need a week to do your research? Huh? Meanwhile, everybody else in this call don't need a week. They don't need a week. They just need to make the decision. They decided already that they are going to do it, period. All right, Gio, I can do it tonight. You better do it tonight then. You see what I'm saying? So, somebody said just caught the last 2 minutes, but I'm with it. Can we recap? Oh, Lord. Whew. I don't know. I'll post this on YouTube tomorrow. We can watch the YouTube. That's a long recap. Okay. I went off on a tangent. I gave so many gems. I just, hey, listen, for those of you who were here, was this valuable? Was this valuable to y'all? Let me know. I just want to know, is this type of information valuable to help you move forward in your career? Please let me know. Okay. Okay. Cool. So it's nothing to it but to do it. Now we have to assume the identity. You ask for this, assume the identity, take charge. Okay. All right. I'm gonna go over the recap real quick. Let's just recap. Master the fundamentals, right? That's networking. That's server admin. That is security protocols. Understand those, right? We're not trying to be expert, but these are fundamentals that we're going to go through over and over and over again. Make sure you learn those, right? Number two, get a core certification, fundamentals. You don't have to go into the associate level or professional level certifications right now. It's just all about getting an understanding of what that cloud service provider is offering as far as the service, and move on from there. So after that, we start getting hands on. We start looking at job descriptions, picking a role that we want, right? If you don't know the type of role that you want, right? So this is where we can yeah, there we go. We can go to cloudcareerquiz.com. It's a quiz that we created that helps you understand what you like to do in tech and cloud and give you a role that you would crush it in. Okay. And then we look at job descriptions to see, once we found our role, look at 5 to 10 job descriptions. Find a 60% common skill set that they're asking you for you to have, and then look at those companies and see what they do and start solving problems for those companies, right? So you can look at ChatGPT, Grok, Claude, and ask them those large language models, or that platform, whatever you want to say. Ask it, hey, this is a job I want. This is a company I want to work for. Here's a job description. Give me 10 projects that will help me solve problems for that particular company. And you can go to GitHub. A lot of these large companies have some open source tools that they use in public repos. They don't share their private tech stack, but these open source tools are some of the tools that they're mentioned in the job description, right? So you could go straight to GitHub and put in Nike GitHub, put in Netflix GitHub, put in Accenture GitHub, whatever, and pull some of these tools in the repo. And you can use GitHub Copilot to learn the entire code base of the repo, and you can use it and build agents to start taking actions to deliver some of your solutions, build some of that code base to your liking, and show how you can solve problems with it as well. Once we've done that, we got 8, 10, 15, 20 projects that really showcasing how we solve problems. As we continue to build those projects, we start posting on LinkedIn using our SOART method. Okay. Scenario, obstacle, action, result, troubleshooting. When you post your documentation, that's what it needs to have. As I'm reading, you need to teach me why you're doing this. Why would a company do this? What are the obstacles they're facing? What actions you took? What was the results and the outcome? And troubleshooting. If you failed, and if I hit the same failure or error, I want you to show me like what did you do to get around this? Okay. Start tagging people that you want to work with, or mentors, etc., and get their feedback. And you don't tag them in every project, but every now and then tag them, and or send it to them in DM and see if they can give you some feedback. That's how you build relationships. But once you build enough, I would not apply to a role without reaching out to at least 3 to 5 people within that company to talk to about the role. That's how you get the referral. This game is like, it's too much competition to be doing the same thing everyone else is doing. So how do you stand out as a business? Well, you go through the back door. You start doing things nobody else is doing. You start reaching out to the people directly. You see what I'm saying? So this is what it is. So I would say, take everything I've said and implement it. You can be successful on your own if you discipline enough. You see what I'm saying? You can be successful on your own if you discipline enough. Yes, you're going to need some mentors on the way. Yes, you probably need to, invest in one, or maybe you got a good relationship with someone that can help you, because there's some things you don't know. And sometimes you don't know that you don't know. Right. So you definitely can do this if you just stay consistent, you show up every day, and just detach from the outcome. Right. Just detach from the outcome and just show up and get better every single time, every single day. Okay. The problem that we have is a lot of us put a timeline on our journey. And I believe us putting a timeline on our journey is just us not believing that it can happen or not having faith. So in our mindset, we say, if it doesn't happen in 90 days, then I'm not good enough for it. And I'm here to tell you, if you don't quit, it's going to happen. You see what I'm saying? Sometimes your journey comprises of different formulas, right? Sometimes you might have to go through this mentor here. You might have to go to school, or you might have to, and then you might have to get with this person here. So all three of these things are the things that forge you to the engineer that you need to be, because you needed that a little more time, right? You need it in different seasons in your journey, right? Whether that's a year, whether that's 6 months, whether that's 18 months, you needed different things. You see what I'm saying? Be careful too. I would say, Keon, not trying to, but just be careful with too many mentors, right? Too many people can take you too many directions, right? But if they're all serving a purpose and they're all leading you to this direction of becoming who you want to be, then that's the game plan. But number one, just understand who you're listening to. Make sure you're listening to people who are doing what you want to do and in a place where you want to be and been where you are. But yeah, what I got for y'all. I hope that recap was cool for y'all as well. I'm gonna try to do these Tuesdays and Thursdays and probably Sunday. So implement this plan. Make sure you continue to show up every day, and make sure you don't quit. And when you don't quit, that's when the success is gonna come. That's when your life is gonna change. And I remember for me like it was yesterday. When I got that offer and that salary, my life completely changed. And if you are where I was and you want your life to change, all you have to do is show up every day for a long enough period of time, and it will happen for you too. Okay? Till next time, y'all. See y'all later. Hope this was super valuable for y'all. Let's continue to level up. All right. Bye.